So when is it appropriate to use jargon? I saw a funny video, it was intended to be funny, this week when someone said, like, I didn't realize how much of my time I would spend Googling terms and acronyms that people use in meetings to have any idea what they're talking about. Now, I laughed at that, and it's a great example for why I am such an advocate for plain language. But when is it appropriate to use those terms? Because some people are very devoted to them, and they especially believe that people will not, like, it will affect their credibility if they don't use the jargony terms. And I totally 100% get that. And I would say that it is a very restricted setting in which it is appropriate, but there are settings in which it is appropriate. For instance, if you're talking to other accountants or bookkeepers or finance professionals, and you need to use the terms that are like, EBIT or EBITDA or other terms that are specific to how you go about accounting, or recording profits, or reporting out things, then that is very much appropriate. If you toss it around in more general meetings, there will be people scratching their heads and be completely lost. I'm telling you this as a person who knows what those terms mean, kind of, but every single time I hear them, I have to go in my head to remind myself what that means. And really, we're talking about profit. As a communications professional, I don't need to know the ins and outs of how the accounting works. I do need to understand the basics, and that's how a lot of times in a more general meeting, that's the situation. But if you are in a very specific meeting where you're trying to figure out like how you're going to approach it or what the proper accounting is, or you need to report out about the proper accounting, then of course that is the time to use the jargon, the specific terminology. Same thing, say you're a scientific researcher and you're meeting with other scientific researchers. Of course you can use super sciencey language, and you should, because that is the shorthand that people can understand the best what you're talking about. If you're talking to me, I highly recommend that you use plain language, because I will not be able to access what you're saying. So that's what I'm talking about. There are very specific cases, but they are a smaller universe than you might think. So if there is any chance that you have any sort of mixed company, people who are not that level of subject matter expert, use the plainer language. But 100%, if you're in a room of experts, use your expertise.